Hi, and welcome to another Fanshawe Online video tutorial. In this session, we're going to look at how to create a Bongo video assignment. In particular, we're creating a group assignment today. I'm starting out in the Bongo assignments dashboard, so I've already opened that. I can see a list of the existing assignments and type. And to create a new one, I'm going to select the Add button and select Create Group Assignment. Once I've selected to create, I now enter the details for this. I'm going to call it a group debate. I'm also going to select a due date, and I'll make that a future date using the calendar. And I'm going to select a due time. Now, both date and time are optional values that you can enter. I do like the time to end during what would be classified as normal work hours. So if students run into any challenges submitting an assignment, it is during a time when they can actually reach out to someone. Once I've entered those details, I can select the grade type for this assignment. And again, we have that range of 5 different grading types: percentage, rubric, if I'm using a rubric for grading pass or fail, so either 0 or 100%, auto pass, meaning a student receives 100% as soon as they make a submission, and or 5-star. Each one of those stars rate as 20% to get a full value of 100% grade weight. I can also enter instructions, and again, we have our standard instruction fields. We can create a video, so we can actually create this video telling students what this assignment is about. I'm going to select record video. Note, it will test my video camera as well as my microphone, and when I'm ready, I can select to record. This assignment is adopted from University of Waterloo's Group Work in the Classroom, Small Group Tasks. In this assignment, you have been placed into groups of 4. The current issue today is coronavirus or COVID-19. As a result, a number of schools have closed for a short period of time to move all active courses online. 2 students will argue for closing the schools and moving courses online, while 2 will take the other side of the argue against. Then you will switch roles and argue the opposite side. Finally, all members of the group drop their advocacy and come to a consensus about the topic, or develop a report that synthesizes the best evidence and reasoning on both sides. Please include sources for your information in a document, and it's your choice to use either a recording or a file submission or submissions for your report. I'm going to stop, and once I stop recording that video, I have options to play that back, to delete that recording, download it, and I'm going to save it. Once I save, it will take a few minutes to process those instructions, and then the video will be available. I am also going to enter text instructions since they are required. I have them off to the side as my script for my video, so I'm just going to copy and paste that in. Now that my instructions are complete, I can choose whether or not we are going to peer review other groups' work, and if so, I can define or identify how many groups they're required to peer review. Being able to peer review other groups keeps that critical thinking for students and helps them really identify the points that they're being reviewed on. I'm going to select to show the advanced, and in the advanced options I can create post-submission instructions. In here I'm simply going to put, don't forget to review another group. Now I have access to the tool sets. I can select which tools this group will be able to work with. Can they create meetings? If I select or leave meetings enabled, that means that the students can create their own virtual classroom sessions using Bongo, and they can meet and record those sessions. If they record those sessions, it will be saved as part of the group work. I can also leave or disable documents so that students can submit documents for this assignment. I've actually asked the students in the instructions to include sources for information as a document, so I'll leave that enabled. And then of course we have our video options. Can students record their own video just as we did for instructions or not? I'm going to leave that enabled. Then I also have options for how to form my groups. Am I going to form those groups manually with Educator Formed, allow the students to choose their own groups, or let the system automatically place students in groups, in which case it will just distribute my class list into individual groups. I'm going to select Educator Formed, and then I can select whether or not the students that are part of the groups have to evaluate one another. Again, a valuable lesson for students being able to evaluate their teammates that they're working with. In the peer review section, because I have enabled peer review, I can select whether or not the system will automatically select the other group they have to review, and or whether the student will select the group. As an educator, you've probably noticed that students will select the same people to peer review over and over again, so let's let the system choose who they will review. We also have options. Do we want to allow peer review before a student makes a submission? And that is probably not very likely. We can also select to conceal a reviewer identity and the submitter identity. Not so easy to do in a face-to-face class. However, it would be pretty easy to do for an online course since the students may not know each other. Again, there's my number of reviews that are required, and there's my review type, which I selected above. And then I also have a due date and time that I can set. If I want to make sure that students have reviewed each other by the end of class, I could select an end date for those reviews. And again, I'm going to keep within normal working hours for that review to be submitted. Now, if I have selected a rubric as a grading method, I could also select a rubric self-assessment or even a rubric review type. However, I'm not using a rubric to grade the assignment. Those options are not available. If I hide the advanced, now I've entered all the information that I need for my group assignment, and I'm going to save it. One last thing we'll cover about these group assignments is how do we actually assign students to these groups. In the Bongo video assignments dashboard, I'm going to find that assignment I just created, group debate. Scroll over to the right if I need to, select the vertical ellipse and find manage groups. I've selected to assign the groups. I don't want to copy from an existing assignment. This would be if you've already broken the class into groups and assigned them to a different group assignment. I'm going to manually assign them. Chances are I don't want the same people working with the same people all the way through the course. So manual creation, I'm going to synchronize my roster just to make sure that my entire class list shows up. And then I can create groups or randomly distribute. So I still have that option. I'm going to create, let's say 3 groups. Actually, I should probably count the number of students, but I'm going to wing it and select 3. And then I can click and drag my students into individual groups until I have all my group members identified. And when I am finished with all my group members, I can select to save those options. And that's it. That is how we create a Bongo video assignment, specifically a group assignment. Thank you for joining me and have a great day.